Today on This Week in iPad, we'll finally get around to reviewing the top chat apps, totally for real this time, I promise. I'm joined live in the studio by Mr. 1938 Media himself, Lauren Feldman. We're going to look at some of the most bizarre all-time iPad mods, and Andrea Rene is going to come in to review some of the hottest games right now in the App Store. All that and more today on This Week in iPad. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another exciting edition of This Week in iPad. I'm Lon Harris, your host. I'm joined today in studio by a very special guest, Lauren Feldman, our guest expert, I
Thank
suppose.
you for having me.
Yeah, so Jacob Birch, our normal co-host, is in Portland this week, could not be here. So instead, we've got Lauren sitting in. And an iPad fan, what are your general thoughts on the device?
I did not come to appreciate the iPad until it was my main form of entertainment, to be honest. When it first came out, I did not like it.
Yeah.
You know, but I wasn't really, I was looking at it almost as more of a laptop than a media consumption device. Once I made that switch in my head, I really appreciate it a lot more now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a key thing. Let's get rid of that. I think it's a key thing. You have to use it. You have to get hands-on with it until it sort of makes sense. Like you don't grok it immediately when you first hear about it.
Yeah, I mean, you have to find out kind of how it fits in your life. If you're a gamer, which I'm not, you know, that didn't mean anything to me. Once I discovered how awesome Netflix, Pandora, apps like that, that's what really makes it for me.
Yeah, totally. That makes a lot of sense. So I do want to thank also, while we're getting started here right off the top, Sam Ben Salem. He sent me this. It's a wedge pad. As you can see, it's basically a pillow that you strap onto the back of your iPad. It works pretty well, actually. I mean, it's sort of as a stand, and it's also, you know, kind of a cozy, so it won't move around while you're typing on it. Kind of an interesting little idea. He sent us those. I did want to thank him, and wedge pad is the name of the item if you want to go check it out. And also, I want to remind everybody, please keep the feedback coming. You've been sending me so many great thoughts on the show and new directions you want to take it in. I love hearing it. Lon@thisweekend.com. Or you can hit me up on Twitter @Lons, or you can tweet the show @TWI iPad. So let us know that, you know, stuff you'd want to see. I'm especially looking for thoughts on cases because we're going to do a big case roundup show in a couple weeks. And I want to get people's thoughts on, you know, what's your favorite case, what case have you tried, and all that sort of stuff. So let me know. I want to hear from you. And right here at the top of the show, I'm really excited. We have a new sponsor, a brand new sponsor this
Who would
week.
that be?
Who would that be? Let's take a look. They are called Hover.com. If you go to TWIIP.hover.com, you can check out our very special, unique branded page on Hover. And what is Hover? They are a domain site. So there's a lot of domain sites out there. You could probably think of a domain contractor. If you think really hard about it, you can probably think of one of them. You have a lot of options when you transfer your domain, but a lot of them are they're purposefully convoluted. They're confusing. They make it purposefully confusing. They want, when you're buying a domain, they want you to get email. They want you to get all sorts of other bells and whistles, and they're sort of trying to lock you in, so you have to look very specifically and check and uncheck a million boxes.
Exactly, a million boxes and services that you don't need, never going to use,
yeah, and I mean, and the page itself, I mean, when you're just trying to register a domain, and the page itself is so crowded with, there's sort of pictures, and it's all like Danica Patrick and NASCAR drivers and poker players, and they're all crowding out, and all you want to do is something that's really simple, really easy. Just buy a domain, and that's Hover, Hover.com, and if you go to TWIIP.hover.com, you can get 10% off, and when you try it out, just use the code TWIIP, and I'm gonna try to buy a domain here live on the show just to show how easy it is. Let's try lonsipad.com. Maybe I'll start like a blog, an iPad blog or something. I don't know. We'll see how it works. So I'm going in right here. You can see how neat and clean. I mean, I think they've really taken some of their philosophy probably from Apple, where everything is so intuitive, it's so neat, it's so easy to get exactly where you're going. I mean, you can look right here, lonsipad.com, domain pricing is $15. You know, I can add mailboxes, I can just check none. It's one really easy thing. Add to cart, and boom, there it is. And I can check out, I mean, look at that, one button. All you have to do, it's really simple. It really couldn't be more simple. The prices are clearly labeled. They don't change. And even, I really like this. I'm going to go to the front page and show you this. They've got all these video tutorials right here on the front page. So if you have a question about how to do anything in the system, they really couldn't make it easier for you to do. It's totally, you know, very simple, very straightforward. And it's a division of Tucows, which is one of the most trusted technology companies in history. I mean, 1994, these guys started up. Prodigy used to blow my mind back in 1994. I mean, I probably was not even on the internet.
eWorld.
Yeah, I know, it's amazing. I was like, I just got movie tickets using my computer. It's incredible. So that's how long Tucows goes back. They couldn't be more trusted. And I like, this was one thing they were telling me on the phone. There's not even a hold system at hover.com. You call them up, they're up in Toronto. If you call them, their phone just rings until somebody picks it up and helps you. There's no hold system. There's no automated system. They're a small upstart company. They're really just interested in giving you great customer service and helping you, from the ground up, get everything you want done. Really easy. So twiip.hover.com. Go check it out. Do us a favor. Let them know we sent you over there. A great new sponsor, and we're really pleased to have them.
Tell them Lon sent you.
Really tell them Lon. We're really pleased to have them sponsor the show. And we love our sponsors. We want. I'm going to put that in the chat room. We want everybody to go check out the sponsors. Let them know you support the show. We're doing this free every week. It's really the least people can do, I think.
You got to buy a domain anyway.
Right. You're out there buying, hotchickswithkittens.com isn't going to buy itself. You got to get on that. All right. So enough. Thank you to Hover. Let's move into the show. Here's a segment. We're going to move it to the front because we've been trying to get to these chat apps for like 3 weeks, and we keep running out of time. We never get to it during the show. So I'm going to put it right up the front. Let's go right into Planet of the Apps.
You maniacs! Damn you! God damn you all to hell!
Don't download it, Lon. You might not like how it runs.
I might not like it. That was like the best graphical package we've ever made.
Yeah, that's a good one. Can't go wrong with Charlton.
You really can't.
Charlton banging on sand.
You really can't. So the first one I'm going to show off here is Beehive. I think it's called Beehive.
Beejive.
Is it Beejive?
Beejive.
Yeah, but I think the J is one of those Spanish
Oh, it's
J's.
a French,
Yeah,
that thing?
right. I think it's, no,
Okay.
it's Spanish. French would be J.
Well,
Bonjour.
but those language.
Right.
Romance.
Romance language, exactly. So I think it's Beehive, but I don't know. It could be Beejive. So if you take a look, really straightforward. Here's all of the different kinds of accounts you could put in. AIM, Google Talk, ICQ, Jabber, MSN, MySpace, Yahoo, and Facebook are all on there. It handles links actually really well. It can open link natively, or it sort of opens Safari right there, and it remembers who you're chatting with. So if I close it down and then open it back up, it'll bring the last chat I was having back up, which is really great. A lot of the other ones that I tried don't do that. As with all of these, you can adjust the backgrounds. Like, they all have these crummy, obnoxious backgrounds. This one is particularly bad. But I like that you can go in here and you can set wallpaper, and I can make it, any image that I want from my iPad, and they have some stored up ones too. I don't know why that didn't work just now. Oh well, it does work, I swear. And you get push notifications too, which is kind of cool. If you're in the middle of chatting and you close down to use another app, it'll pop up, with one of your friends sort of pings you. So you can set that on or off, because I can imagine that could be kind of annoying. So all of that's in his favor. The cons, some of these others have like emoticons and kind of bells and whistles you'd be used to from like AIM or Yahoo Messenger. This one doesn't have that. So if you're one of those big, noxious people who's got to have like smiley face at the end of everything you write, it may not be ideal. But other than that, it works really well. As I said, I hate the honeycomb background, but you can change that. You can make it otherwise if you want to. People are asking in the chat room, what does it do? These are all IM. So it's for chat, it's for IM. If you've got your other friends in any of those IM systems, Google Talk, AIM, ICQ, you can integrate any of them with this, and it costs $9.99. So it's a little bit pricey, but most of these actually seem to cost $9.99.
That's a little steep.
It's a little steep. A lot of the chat apps that we checked actually were $10. I don't know why chat is so much more.
Because they know that they're maniacs who are obsessed with that stuff, so they can get it.
Yeah, it's amazing. These really complex, graphically intense games are like $2, and even that is like, $2. And then this is $10 to chat, and yet I guess people will pay it. This is a popular app, So there you go. It is a little steep, but if you're going to use it every day, if you're somebody who wants to be chatting on your iPad all the time, I can imagine you doing a lot worse. So the next one I'm going to look at, and I apologize I don't have all these set up for chat right here. It's not my iPad. The next one is I Am Pro. Don't tell anybody.
I won't.
Don't tell anyone I said that. So the next one is I Am Pro. Also costs $10. The big advantage here is it's got two more that it supports that Beehive doesn't, which is it supports Skype and it supports, what was the other one? It supports Skype and Twitter. It supports Skype and Twitter, which you can't get on Beehive. So if you're on Skype all the time and you want to be chatting there, you can use this one, which is pretty handy. And as you can see, also, it's sort of a generic background, but you can pick your own. It does have emoticons. One extra neat little thing about this one, for 99 cents, you can actually add on speech recognition. So if you want to be chatting all day, but you want to be hands-free, you can just yell at your iPad and it'll type. I tried it out. It works, it works about as well as Google's voice recognition, which is, I'd say about 75, 80% effectiveness. So, the cons on that one, you don't get a full browser. You can open it in Safari, but it opens in this, if you open links from your chat, it's in this really small kind of window, sort of hard to navigate. The voice recognition, ambient noise really throws it off. So it's not awesome, but, it's pretty good. For $9.99, you could do a lot worse. I would say Beehive probably the better overall deal there. So
the voice recognition thing is cool.
The voice recognition thing is
Hopefully
definitely
that'll
cool.
get better.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure they're going to, every version that comes out will probably be a little bit better.
Yep.
So
All right.
you looked at a few?
I looked at AIM.
Grab your
Yep.
iPad here. That'll do.
I looked at AIM and FaceChat. AIM is the official client from America Online, and I hate it, to be honest.
AIM?
Yeah.
Not a fan?
No, not a fan. What they're doing is they're integrating their live stream stuff into it. They're really making that push for the live stream, and it's just unnecessary. I'm not really thrilled with the interface with it. I like seeing my contacts who are live, immediately. And it really doesn't provide for that so much without hitting the button on the upper right, I think, that plus.
Yeah.
Like, that's not up by default. Graphics, it's kind of silly to talk about, but I hate the graphics on this as much as you hate the honeycomb.
Yeah.
I don't know why they do that. I really don't. I don't know why they just don't go with like a neutral kind of desktop.
Nice single solid color
just
is all you need.
Any shade of gray. Again, it does have push, which they just added, which is nice on the AIM app. But again, it's a very difficult interface, to be honest.
Yeah.
It really isn't. It just doesn't pop up like it should. It's not intuitive. When you first open it up, you're looking for your contacts, your conversations. You might be in that live stream window nonsense. So
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed in it, to be honest. What do you think about it?
It's so ubiquitous. Honestly, I don't really chat on my iPad all that much. We decided to do this one because it's a huge vertical.
Right.
And this one it's all right. I agree. It's noisy.
Yeah.
For just chat, it's noisy, and actually that's an advantage that Beehive has over it, which is it's pretty simple and it's all just chat focused. There's not all this like let's pull in your Facebook and your tweets and all that. It's just you want to grab this person, see if they're around. You're in a coffee shop or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could pull this up. You can have a little conversation back and forth. If they want to send you a link or something, you can get there, and that's it. And that's
there's
sort of single purpose.
And being able to do it quickly is key, and you're not with this app. So
Yeah.
I'm not really a fan of it, to be honest.
I don't know if anybody's actually nailed chat on the iPad yet.
Well,
that
brings us kind of to the next one, which is FaceChat.
right.
It's a $1.99 app as opposed to $9.99, but it does one thing and does it well. Facebook chat. That's
Right.
it. It's on a screen somewhere over there.
I'll find it.
And as he's pulling that up, what I like about this, super duper simple. I mean, super simple interface. In fact, they even keep the keyboard on screen the whole time.
Yeah.
Is that up? I can't.
It is up, yes.
Okay.
I've got it.
There you go. So much, much better interface, I think. The people on the left there, well, hopefully, it doesn't matter. Maybe these people will be embarrassed, but the people
They
on
know
the
you?
Yeah, exactly. The people on the left are your buddies. Obviously, center column is where the conversation's happening. So you would just click on the left, and then that would move over to the right. So see,
There you
and it
go,
brings it
yeah.
over. Super duper simple. I like this interface. Is truthfully one of the best ones that I've seen. For chat, just because it's so dead simple.
Yeah.
And again, they keep the keyboard right there.
The interesting thing, though, is like a lot of other apps have Facebook chat built in. So
Right.
This is only if you really want a standalone Facebook chat. Like even the Facebook itself, like if you get a lot of these Facebook browser apps have chat, like Friendly, the Facebook browser, it's the whole Facebook experience and chat.
Right.
So yeah, I mean,
Well, I think they're probably just going for that super clean interface, getting rid of all of that other bells and whistles stuff that you're talking about. I think that was their intention. And I mean, I'm not a huge Facebook user by any stretch, but this is a really nice app, I think. For $1.99, if you're really into that kind of stuff, it doesn't get much simpler, I don't think.
you could do worse. So there, I mean, I guess Face Chat would be the winner then because it's the cheapest.
Yeah, I think so.
And if you just want Facebook chat, I mean, I guess
and also you can get with Boxcar and other apps are now starting to build in push into all of their stuff. So
it's true. Or just use your phone, text
I
message.
know, so
Come
much
on.
better.
Like,
Let me
it's a
hear
little-
that sweet voice on the phone.
Yeah, like this whole like text chat from your iPad. It just seems a little unnecessary.
Especially with all the typos.
Yeah, well, right. You
Sent from my iPad. Excuse me for being an idiot.
Right, yeah. It's all the words I find are like clustered together. Where it misses spaces all the time, so it's like 3 words made into 1 word. Okay, so let's chat briefly about Gazelle.com, another sponsor. That's my failure to do a segue there. What happened to my Gazelle? Oh, well, we'll bring it up. So we talked about him on the show a bunch. This is the place to go to get rid of all of your unwanted, pointless electronics you're not using anymore. You've got the iPad 1. You want to get the Galaxy tablet that's coming out soon. You want to get the iPad 2 when it comes out, in a couple months. They've got all these new iPods and iPod Touches now. You want to just get one of those. You come to Gazelle. You type in any electronics you've got sitting around, and they'll tell you exactly what you're going to get for them. They'll make you a good deal. So, if you want to ditch your iPad, you're tired of it, we haven't convinced you that it's worth hanging on to. I've got the 32 gig on Wi-Fi. You just click search right here. It's going to look up what they're paying for it. There you go. You pick out the one you've got, sell it now. It couldn't really be easier. You answer a couple really basic questions about it. It's free of water damage, sure. The overall condition, I would say perfect. I'm going to click all these buttons here. And the thing I love, I always point this out, they've got this little chart so you can actually see how much you would have gotten, how much you will get, and how much you think you're going to get in the future. It's estimated. They're averaging it out. So you could see, like, this week versus December, they're estimating the price is going to dip by almost $100. So if you've got an iPad and you want to dump it, now is the time. So
Right,
sort of
because the new ones are going to come out.
Yeah, and so there you go, $100. This was like $300 like a week ago. So when I looked this up, so the price is dipping. So you can actually sort of plan it out and time it pretty accurately for what you think you're going to get. So there, wow, didn't I check on it? Yeah, there you go. Oh, power's on successfully. I put no. That's why it was low. So we'll calculate power's on successfully. There you go. So anyway, you can see exactly what you're going to get before you even buy it. It couldn't be more easy. Nearly 100,000 people have used Gazelle to safely get rid of their unwanted gadgets and earn some cash and use the promo code TWI5. TWI5, and you will get an extra 5% on top of whatever you buy from there. On top of the trade-in value, it doesn't work for movies and games and media, but any electronics, TWI5. We love Gazelle here. They're saying in the chat room how great Gazelle is. You can thank them at Gazelle_com on Twitter. Let them know you heard about them here. Go use it. Go check it out. I really highly recommend it. They've been a great sponsor, great supporter of the show, and thank you to Gazelle. All right, let's do some news.
Excellent.
All right, good. Glad we agree. The first news item, the iPad, is it cannibalizing the PC industry? According to an analyst, the iPad is having a significant negative impact on the entire PC industry, not just netbooks. UBS investment research analyst Maynard writes that iPads are also luring away customers from lower-end desktop PCs, as the iPad is close enough to them in price to make them a viable alternative. He also goes on to state, quote, consumers who purchase iPads may be more willing to delay purchases and upgrades of existing PCs. He's looking at 2011 to be a huge year for the iPad. His estimate, which he says is conservative, 28 million units shipped for the year. So, do you think an iPad is really ever a viable alternative to a PC? Can you see people not buying or not upgrading their PC because of their iPad?
I can see them not upgrading for now. I don't think it's a viable alternative yet. Once the new OS comes out with the multitasking, I think that's going to make a real big deal. That'll change things considerably. Well, security and enterprise stuff, they seem to be doing okay. The keyboard, it's tough. The Bluetooth, and I like these new cases for the future K-Show that are having now Bluetooth keyboards built in.
Yeah, we actually looked at one the other week that had that clamshell where, it's got a keyboard right there. You don't have to set anything up.
I think the lack of a keyboard definitely holds it back. I think the multitasking lack of at this point definitely holds it back. Once they get those things together, I think it'll be, a more viable competitor. I can see it killing netbooks, though. I mean, netbooks,
Right.
I mean, those are gone now.
Those are pretty much on their way out already, it seems. I mean, and that's kind of been known. This is more saying, like, it's also desktop PCs that are being sort of impacted.
I mean, I could see, in the home, if your second PC or something, I mean, a PC is what, $299, $399 now at Kmart or Walmart or wherever. And I guess it really depends on usage. I mean, at the end of the day, most people, at least on the consumer front, are consuming email, browsing, Netflix,
web browsing,
music.
Email, music.
Yeah, I mean, they're not doing
TV.
Excel or, Wolfram Alpha equations or, So I think for most households, I could see it happening, but I think really to make the push, they're going to need the multitasking and some kind of keyboard.
Yeah, I mean, I think consistently, people find out I'm on an iPad show. I get that a lot. They're like, oh, why would I want an iPad? And it always comes down to writing. That's the one thing people don't feel like they can do on their iPad is like, I write screenplays or I can write long emails or essays or homework or whatever. Other than that, it seems like they've kind of got it all locked down.
And it's also tough because there's, the syncing is still so horrible on it.
Yes.
I'm a fan of Pages, which is the Mac word processing program. Yeah. Great program. I shelled out the $10 the other day for the iPad version, and there's no easy way to sync.
Yeah, it's not. They could make it a lot easier.
I think that's also part of it. I mean, it doesn't necessarily. Wireless would be great. I mean, they're eventually going to have to do the wireless syncing. Yeah. Because it's crazy that you have to keep doing a cable now. But I think as the cloud develops, the iPad goes with it.
Yeah. Dropbox. I mean, you have Dropbox.
Yeah, Dropbox,
that's
phenomenal,
a great option.
Great app on iPad and all of that.
You can just send stuff in there and then grab it from wherever.
That's
pretty much you have to do something like that.
But it's still a third-party kind of thing. It shouldn't have to for syncing files.
Well,
especially
Apple should buy Dropbox. That's a good idea.
Apple's never going to buy anybody. No. I love all that talk. Apple's never buying anybody. Very specific little companies, but they could build Dropbox in a weekend.
Probably.
Yeah.
They don't need to buy it. You're right. So let's move on. We got some footage off of YouTube from the IFA trade show in Berlin. It was uploaded by mobileburn.com. It's an early look at the Toshiba Folio 100 Android tablet. I think we have that. So
I'm Graham Simons. I'm the business manager for digital life products and services at Toshiba for the UK and Scandinavia. This product here is a Folio 100. It's a 10.1-inch personal media tablet. It's running Android 2.2, which also includes capability for Flash 10.1. So any websites that run Flash will run on this product. The product features a 10.1-inch 1024 by 600 resolution screen. It weighs 765 grams. It's 14 mil thick and has a fair amount of expandability. So, for example, the product features HDMI. It also features USB. It features an SD card slot as well. And the SD card slot can take capacities up to 32 gigabytes.
Okay.
Yeah. The product also features a front-faced webcam for video conferencing, and is on sale from the beginning of November in the UK at £329, including tax.
Can we see the back of the device real quick, just to see the branding there? All right, and what's the processor inside?
The processor in it is a Tegra 2.
Okay.
So that's an NVIDIA product.
Okay.
And the product comes with 16 gigabytes on board.
Okay. Awesome.
So is it me? I know it's a 10.1-inch screen, which isn't that much bigger than the iPad's 9.7. Does that look huge? It looks really cumbersome.
It looks, I don't want to say it, but Juju-esque.
Yeah, it does. It is a bit.
It also looked very thick.
It
looked thick.
It looks big and sort of cumbersome for what it's doing, I thought. That was
Yeah, no,
my
I
immediate
agree.
reaction.
I agree. I mean, just chunky.
Yeah, my other thought on it generally, I mean, obviously this has a lot of the same functionality we're seeing in a lot of the Android tablets. It improves a lot of the basic stuff that people complain about on the iPad. You know, it's got the HDMI, it's got, you know, an SD card, all these little things, front back cameras, a lot of the complaints you hear about the iPad. Having said that, do any of these Android tablets, don't they need some sort of a personality or a brand of their own? I mean, isn't that why the iPad is kicking butt? Less because of the functionality, because people know it. It's the iPad. And so all these other Android tablets that don't have their own, aren't they all just going to split the market and nobody's going to get any kind of real market share? Is that the danger of this?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. It's almost like, you know, it's the same competition with Mac PCs. Right?
Yeah. Where
so
it's every PC.
Right. So instead of
and then
Windows
Mac.
now, it's just the new kid on the block with Google and Android.
Right.
I do think, you know, Android's a good system. I still think, you know, the Mac OS is much better. But yeah, I mean, there'll be one or two dominant players in the Android space, and then tons of all those other people underneath it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think, you know, they could have 10,000 vendors. They're not going to make a dent.
Yeah, it's interesting. You always hear about, you know, they say, well, there's more Android phones out there than iPhones. It's like, but not one. There's like more of every kind of phone that has Android versus this one brand.
Right.
So it's like, that still means that's the dominant brand. So anyway,
Yeah, I mean, also what happens to iPhone figures once they open up carriers?
Right, yeah.
I mean, how many people are not
Verizon,
buying, you know, iPhones just because they hate AT&T, you know?
Yeah. Agreed. All right, so let's move on. VLC may be coming out with an app for iPad. This is cool. Crunchbase reports that Applidium has submitted a port of the popular open-source VLC player. It essentially plays any kind of video file to the App Store for approval. They're now waiting to see if it's going to get through. There are already video playing apps that have made it through the CineX player, which plays DivX videos. I showed that a few weeks ago on here. Just pretty much any AVI file. But no word yet on whether the VLC app is going to make it through. The company that produced it is actually afraid it's going to get rejected on the grounds of duplicating functionality, even though the app would play formats that iTunes would not. So we'll have to stay tuned. Definitely, if this comes out, I'm going to review it on the show. Would you download that? Would you pay for VLC?
I love VLC.
Yeah.
It's one of my core apps. It's great. As you said, open source, been around forever.
Yeah.
Free, plays everything well.
It's like the first thing I tell people when they get a new Mac, and they're like, what do I need to get? It's like, you got to get the VLC.
Yeah, absolutely. I suspect that, I mean, there are other apps that are doing this. Goodreader, even other apps that let you look at a bunch of different file types. I hope that it gets through. I suspect it probably will, to be honest. What I base that on is just my gut, really. But I think it's a really cool app. I think that Jobs probably knows about it personally, the app VLC. It's a programmer's kind of app. The geeks love it. It's cool.
Yeah.
I think it will get through. I definitely hope it does.
I would love to have one of those on my iPad. Just it opens up, so many other kinds of videos. Even, it's like maybe a Pirate Bay thing or two that you snuck on your computer.
Little AVI.
Somewhere. Occasional AVI. Yeah, you could use
Little
a little.
AVI never killed anyone.
Your skin and bones. Download an AVI. So this one, I know you're gonna have an opinion about this. Harper's Bazaar ran this article about Couture iPad cases. A lot of the big designers are getting into chic iPad cases. So here we can see the cheapest one is this the $290 for the Gucci or the Oscar de la Renta version.
I love the LV.
Yeah, up to $15.
How much is the LV?
The Louis Vuitton is $390 for the Louis Vuitton.
Can I expense that for Jay? Will
Yeah,
Jason
sure.
approve that?
Throw it on the.
I'm going to get an LV iPad.
Throw it on the credit card.
Because I know he's into the man bag.
He is. He's suddenly very into man bags. All the way up to $1,555.
Which one is that?
For the Chanel here in the corner.
Oh, that's crazy.
The Chanel one is over $1,500, which I should note, 3 iPads. That's that you're protecting your iPad with something that costs 3 times as much as an iPad, which just strikes me as pretty insane. I mean, none of these seem pretty practical. Most of them don't even have a stand. They're like cases. They're not even like stands.
Well,
They're just a slip case.
I don't think that the average Chanel owner is worried about practicality.
I guess they're not. I mean, Apple's got a $40 one that also is a stand.
This is
that you've
here it is.
got. Yeah. And it works great.
Yep.
And why, you don't really need anything more fancy than that.
No, I love it.
I'm sure the hatch pad I'm using or the
cute,
wedge
though.
pad.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and these are handmade. I mean, these are designer, but I'm sure it doesn't cost that much. Does this mark? One interesting observation I had about this. Does this mark the time that the iPad itself is no longer the status symbol? Everybody's got them. It's too mainstream. Now I have to get a Burberry case for my iPad.
I think it's the same idiots who are buying, any of that stuff. If you're into LV, you're into LV. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's any reflection on Apple or the hardware itself. No. I think it's just those Euro trash, nouveau riche morons who would do stuff like that.
Right, pretty much, yeah. I mean, if you're walking around with a 15, now that I know what it costs, if I see anybody with a Chanel iPad
I don't even care if it's a fake. It's still dumb. Like if you have a Chanel or a Prada iPad case, you're an idiot.
That's when you get your Toshiba Folio, you'll put it in a fake.
I mean, it's very Paris Hilton-esque.
It is, yeah. I'm sure she's going to have.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sure she's going to have one before the week is out. One other thing, as long as we're listing, fun stuff that I found on blogs. iPadcasereview.org had this amazing list, the most bizarre iPad mods. So here somebody's actually put their iPad inside a classic Macintosh. Some of the others, this is somebody put it in their car. I love this one. This was my favorite. It's an iPad typewriter, and it actually works. You can type, and it actually will enter in through a USB. That's amazing. Here's a G4, iMac G4 mod. This guy made an iPad guitar, a bike, a book. You get the idea. This last one, not actually an iPad mod. This guy just made a skateboard and then stood on his iPad and ran it around and broke it. But
very nice.
Kind of a cool article. I'll post the link. We'll have it in the notes if you want to go take a look. Just fun stuff people are doing with their iPad. I like to feature it here. We got one more story. We'll talk about this HyperDrive. I do want to bring this up on the screen here because it's kind of cool. And so they're coming out with, it's up to 750 gigs hard drive that connects right to your iPad. It's a little bit really ugly looking, but functional. It's the same people that produce the HyperMac iPad batteries, and they make an iPad stand that charges your iPad while you're using it. This is a hard drive, connects directly to your iPad, comes with a touchscreen. It can read up to 12 types of memory cards as well, and it allows users to store up to 750 gigs of photos and videos, and then you just transfer them to your iPad as needed. It also works as a standard USB external hard drive when it's not connected to an iPad. They start at $300 for the 120 gig version, up to $600 for the 750 gig Ultimate version. A little bit pricey. I mean, $600 for 750
a lot of AVIs,
gigs.
Though.
It's a lot. You can watch
you can
anything
hold
you
100,000, 200,000, God knows how many.
The entire Pirate Bay at your disposal at any time. So is this the key? I mean, is this how now you could make your iPad into like a netbook if you could get 750 gigs on it? Or is that sort of pointless?
I think it's pointless. I think iPad is cloud. It's all cloud-based.
Yeah.
Once they enable, real streaming, they got to get their own service together at some point here, huh?
It seems like it's got.
I guess that was the Lala buy, but everything's under wraps. But they just
ping, right?
Yeah, I mean, ping me.
Yeah,
I hate that expression.
I can see what Lady Gaga wants me to listen to.
I wasn't impressed with ping, but not to get off subject, but
yeah, we ranted about that before.
I think just iPad is cloud-based. I don't think it's drive-based.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. All right, so one more app we got to talk about here. Another wonderful sponsor. We got a full bunch of sponsors. 3 sponsors for the show.
It's awesome.
We're doing great. Things are coming together.
Absolutely.
Mark doesn't have it on his iPad. I'm using Mark's iPad because Andrea, our special guest, is going to be using mine to show off some games. So I don't have Press Reader, but you've all seen me use it before. An amazing, amazing app. We'll throw it on a future episode so you can actually see it. 1,600 full content newspapers and magazines from 90 countries in 47 languages. All available on your iPad, iPhone, or iPod Touch. If you download it, it's called Press Reader. You get your first 7 newspapers for free, and it's $30 a month. It's free to download. It's $30 a month, and you get unlimited download. You get as many of these papers. You can subscribe, so they actually are delivered every day. They come right into your to your app. As soon as you open it, they're just there. And the thing I love the most about it is you can actually, you can really easily navigate the newspapers. Like you can actually zoom in. You could set up auto downloads. You can jump to a specific section. You can search within the paper. So it's really like a great newspaper app And at the same time, it's got more newspapers. All these other newspaper apps are just like, it's the New York Times or it's the Boston Globe, and that's it. You get one paper. And this is pretty much any newspaper from tons of countries. I mean, you can see right here we've got the iTunes screen pulled up. You can, 11 different papers just from Thailand.
That's
I mean,
cool.
That's amazing, and a lot of them are English language based. So, if you got family over there, you're from there, and you want to keep up with the news there, this is really the best way to do it. And it's so intuitive and easy to use. Really recommended. They're at Press Display on Twitter if you want to go give them a thanks for us. I'd really appreciate it. Say, hey, I learned about you on This Week in iPad. Downloading it now, or just Press Reader. Just find it in the App Store, and it's free to download, so you can check it out for free, see what you think. Highly recommended. People are calling us because the phones are going crazy because people want to get the Press Display. Press Reader
Jesus, I
app.
apologize.
I know.
So unprofessional. I
Really.
expect more for myself.
Just unbelievable.
Go
So
ahead.
let's bring in, we've got a special guest. We're bringing in Andrea Rene. She's from our video game show.
Excellent.
This Week in Video Games. She's going to show us, do some reviews of some new game apps. So we're going to bring her in now. We should have had like a video that we could cut away to, but we didn't. So we'll get her in here. Fill some time. What's your favorite iPad game?
I don't play any games on the iPad.
Not one? You don't have a single
one.
game?
I have one game
You
on
have
it.
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just Pac-Man.
Just Pac-Man?
But
Well,
I don't play it.
that's
I
good.
just wanted
And
to
we
see
actually
it.
have a Pac-Man. We're doing a Pac-Man reference today. There's a new Pac-Man game that Andrea's going to talk about.
Excellent.
So we're going to
So
take
there
a
you
look
go.
at that. So you're all set. Hello, Andrea. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
You're getting your microphone set up.
Microphone, check.
Yeah. So We Rule is probably my favorite iPad game. We've talked about that a lot before. Jason and I were going head to head in that for a while. He easily has won, although I think he hired a guy in Bangalore is doing all of his
He outsourced his gameplay.
harvesting for him. I think he did.
What's
I
the
think
fun
he
of having
outsourced
somebody else play for you?
winning.
Well,
I think we all know the
there's
answer to that.
There's no satisfaction when you don't earn it yourself, right?
No, it depends
Am
on
I
the
the
guy.
only
Some
one that
guys
has
just
any pride?
Yeah, some guys just want to win. They don't care.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's
Yes,
it.
that's very true.
So you looked at some games for us.
Yes,
you host This
I
Week in Video
did.
Games.
Yes, I am a host of a great show, as you know, This Week in Video Games. So
I
I'm
know.
a big gamer fan. I have to say, we're not talking about my favorite game because you've previously talked about it on your show, which is Angry Birds.
Yes.
So,
Gotta love
but I
Angry
have
Birds.
been going through a Plants vs. Zombie phase, so which I really love, which is fun.
Plants
but we're
vs.
not
Zombies,
talking
another
about
great
those
game.
today. Today I have 3 really cool games. If you guys haven't checked them out yet, the first one I want to talk about is this really cool game called Puzzle Agent. Now, let me bring this up for you guys here. My little
There you go.
nifty case.
That's the Zugu case, by the way.
That's a cool case.
yeah,
really
it's
like
a
it.
little
It's a
Velcro,
Velcro.
stand.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
They sent that to me as well, and I'm a big fan of that one. Tim from Zugu sent that along.
Well, you know what? It's good to have friends in high places.
It is like iPad case manufacturers.
Okay, let me get this set up here.
There you go. That's high places. Yeah.
There we go. Puzzle Agent.
All right. Yes.
So this is kind of a neat little game. It's, I believe, you have the price listed there. It's what, $6.99?
Yeah.
This game, it's really neat. It's kind of like a storybook puzzle game. Obviously, it's called Puzzle Agent. So I'll just go ahead and hit. I'm already along in the game here. You are this FBI agent.
Yes.
Who's from the Department of Puzzle Research.
Right.
Now he gets. I'll hit new game here so you guys can see the intro. It's pretty basic gameplay. It's nothing complicated. You can pick this up and start playing right away.
Yeah, and I mean, and even the first couple of puzzles are pretty straightforward, which I appreciated. That
Yeah,
it doesn't
I mean-
throw you in with something really challenging.
The very first puzzle is very basic. It's basically like a mix and match where they see a bunch of different ripped up pieces of paper and then you have to arrange them on the screen.
Yeah, it's sort of a jigsaw puzzle kind of vibe, and it's very narrative. It's this whole story. This FBI agent, he's called to this little town in I think Minnesota.
Yeah, Scoogans,
Is that a real
Minnesota.
town?
You know, I should know this because
Yeah.
that's the part of the country that I'm from, and
Yeah.
I really did kind of like the Minnesota references that they do drop in the game about hot dish and the weather.
What is
and-
hot dish?
Hot dish is pretty much, I mean, it can be almost anything. The hot dish that I know and grew up with was like elbow macaroni with ground beef and like tomato sauce and like some kind
Right.
of vegetable, and it's really like, all just like mashed together.
You're a hot dish.
You want something, because when you live
Yes.
in the snow, you want something like hearty
Right.
and hot that's gonna like stick to your ribs because you have to go outside.
But it doesn't seem helpful to have the name for a food and you don't know what the food is going to be. Like,
Well-
you want
Because
some
it's
hot
a type
dish.
of food. It's like comfort food.
Right. I mean,
okay.
it's everybody has their own recipe. Like if
It's like soul food. It's
like-
just home comfort food.
like it's like salad. Like salad can mean so many different things. That's
Okay,
kind of
you-
like what hot dish means.
You guys win. Fair
Okay.
enough. Hot dish, I'm in.
Anyway, so back to
Let's
the
have some.
game. The one criticism that I really do have about this game, as evident here, is that there's these really long cut scenes.
Yeah.
And
I
there's
noticed
a
that too.
lot of dialogue. Because now here, see, we've hit, to start the game, and you're all excited. Sorry, I have my fingerprints on the screen.
That's all right, it happens.
Because I was very excited about playing these games.
It's the iPad.
And so right now, we've been talking this whole time. The game
Right.
this is the first puzzle.
Yeah, it takes
right
a
here.
long time. There's a lot of narrative. And
Right.
it's kind of funny, but at the same time, it's too much.
I completely agree. So as you see here, this first puzzle is super, super easy. I mean, you
is?
just put a couple pieces
Take me an hour to do
together.
this.
She's working on
That's
it.
why I don't play games.
You know what I
Take me an hour to
mean?
do that.
And then, so as you can see, it says Skoogans here. So
Right.
you submit the puzzle, and then it goes to the FBI. I like this tax dollars spent down here.
Yeah, it's actually counting up.
It's kind of true that there's these secret departments in our government.
And then, like, yeah, if you
spending
get wrong
countless amounts
answers,
of money.
if you get wrong answers, it costs more and more and more and more. So you're
Right,
supposed to try
and then
to get
there's
it right
a
on the
hint
first
system,
try.
which, I mean, this little thing you see right here, that's gum. You don't get into that until a couple levels down the road, but you collect pieces of gum to earn hints.
Right.
There's like gum stuck to random like walls and desks.
I love
and-
the graphics though, like kind of the retro looking artwork.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
hand-drawn
Yeah, I
kind of
love that.
vibe. Yeah.
That is definitely really cool. The only problem with some of the graphics is that they do get a little jerky in
Yeah.
some of the cutscenes, which, when you're getting like an HD game, you're like $6.99
Yeah,
for an
that shouldn't be
iPad
there.
game. That's
would
kind
think-
of steep for an iPad game.
People could
maybe
also
I'm just cheap, but I mean,
No, I think you're right. And people could actually see there was a screen you had pulled up where you occasionally get like a line through the drawing or a
right,
little graphical
yeah, some
glitch.
kind of like glitch, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll work that out on future versions, but still, it's something you'd sort of wish if you're going to pay $7 for a game that they're just going to have that locked down. Having said that, you can see too it's a little jerky. Having said that, I thought it does look cool, and it's a little different take on an iPad game.
This is true. I mean, it's one of those games that I would recommend if you have like a really long flight somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're taking like an 8-hour flight across an ocean or something like that, and you know that you're gonna have a long time to just sit and like watch the cutscenes, because otherwise you get kind of impatient, or I get impatient.
Yeah,
Anyway. I want more like immediate satisfaction. I'm like, I want to play.
I had the exact same feeling last night playing. It was just like, at first it was cute, and then after a while I was like, when do I get to the next puzzle? When do I get to the next
Right,
puzzle?
like, and as you see, it's still playing. We haven't even
Yeah.
gotten to the second puzzle yet. There's this whole scene where he talks to this little man on the bench, and
Yeah.
you can ask questions. And the puzzles do get more difficult. Maybe I just want to show this one next puzzle.
You can actually hit the screen and speed through some of the dialogue if you want to, by the way.
Oh, well, geez, I wish I would have known that. See these insider tricks.
When in doubt with an iPad game, just hit stuff. Just
tap the
Just tap.
screen.
That's 99% of the time that's going to do it. The one other thing I should mention, they're asking in the chat room how long it is. There's 37 total puzzles. So you get a decent amount of puzzles. I mean, the early ones are pretty easy.
But is it short burst, or is it like a role-playing game where you need to go through all kinds of levels and tells a story,
Yeah,
or they stand alone on their own?
It's a narrative, so you have to
Okay.
progress through it, and you talk to people, and you're trying to figure out. It's not like a role-playing game in that you're not like getting dexterity. You don't have to like roll for charisma.
Right.
But having said that, they put it in terms of a story, so you're playing through. So 37 puzzles, but they're contained in this larger experience. I bet if you were really into it, you could beat this in like 2-3 days.
Right.
Yeah. No, I'm just going to show really quick before we move on. I'm just going to show this next puzzle. Because this one actually took me a couple tries.
Really?
to get. I know afterward you do it, it seems so easy.
Yeah.
But they give you the puzzle rules, like you can see here. He's
Mm-hmm.
on his little snowmobile, and you have to try to get him to go to the hotel.
Right.
So now they give you these logs. Now they have the what, where they redo the directions, and
Yeah.
then you can get a hint. You can quit if you're frustrated, or you can reset it.
Yeah.
So basically what these little logs do is like whenever he bumps into them, then he'll turn a certain direction.
But you can't try it out. You got to like solve it and
Right,
then
that's
try
the thing.
it
Like
out,
you
yeah.
can't test it out. So the first time I did it, I like sent him this way. Like for example, let's just for sake, we'll just say
Yeah.
submit so you can see. And then they'll show his path, And he comes up
pretty
and
obvious you messed up.
I messed up. And now this is where it kind of gets funny, where there's all these tax dollars that are being spent.
And you're clearly
for each
wrong.
try, you know what I mean? And then
Reject it.
so
you got to try again. And then you can keep trying, but you get less and less points and less stars every time, depending on how many tries
Correct.
it takes you. Yeah.
So it's kind of a cool little puzzle game, kind of fun, you know, if you're looking for, you know, something interesting.
And it's funny. I mean, I think like a lot of the gags are kind of fun, and it's got a good personality.
Yeah, definitely worth a chuckle or two.
Totally.
I wouldn't say it's like laugh out loud, but maybe that's just me.
No, I didn't laugh at it. But I rarely LOL.
All right, the next game that I want to show you guys is Pack Chain. Now, this game I found to be kind of difficult, to be quite honest. Like, maybe I just am not really good at doing these Pac-Man games, but I mean, this is hard.
Well,
it's kind of like
Tetris.
Well, kind of like Peggle, really. Wouldn't you say? Maybe more like Bejeweled.
Bejeweled, yes.
Yeah.
It's similar to Bejeweled. For sure.
So what it is you got the traditional Pac-Man character there. We'll just do the basic Pac Chain. Easy, because I don't want to look like a retard. Is that PC to say?
Yes.
So as you can see all the little ghost friends are coming up here, and now you need to touch them in chains. However many you see here. And now you can control Pac-Man by touching him on the screen. And then you want to come down and, of course, eat these. And then you can eat the ghosts. And it's like Tetris in that they rise to the top. And you don't want them to rise all the way to the top, otherwise you'll lose.
Yeah, I mean, much like Tetris in that way.
Right, precisely. It's a combination game. It's interesting how it has aspects of all these different kinds of games. So, I mean, this is a pretty self-explanatory game. This is kind of a fun game. You do have to be quick-fingered in this game and kind of, you know, be on the lookout. There is obviously strategy involved, but I was never really good at Bejeweled. I was just like, oh, there's two next to each other. I never really saw the big picture overall.
Again, like Tetris, you're trying to set it up so that you can have the one long piece come and then you get the 4 rows.
Right, exactly. And I want the like I said earlier, I want the instant gratification in the game.
And clean,
and I'm like, oh, I see one, and then I don't see the big picture.
Yeah, I thought this one was fun. I think it's overpriced. It's $5, which is too much.
You know, I agree with all the different kinds of iPad games that are out there right now that are very similar to this. You're really paying for the Pac-Man name.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's why it's $4.99, because it's branded. It's not just some random, you know, you've got the cute little ghost and the Pac-Man character, and I think that's really where that $4.99 price point comes in.
My one other big complaint is that it's really hard to control Pac-Man.
It's really, really hard to control Pac-Man.
And you don't need him, like, he's not essential. Like, you want to go eat the ghost, but really that's not the main part of the game. But still, they couldn't come up with a better system than, like, you have to drag him in the direction you want him to go, and then he just keeps going there.
Especially when you have to make tight corners, it's really difficult to make tight corners. So that was a big complaint of mine. Like, as you can see, I'm like kind of struggling here to turn. Like, you can't do fast turns like you could with the Pac-Man joystick, you know, in the old arcade game.
Right.
Yeah.
So you kind of like with this Pac-Man character, you kind of are used to some
juke.
kind of
Remember, like with
level
the old
of
Pac-Man?
mobility.
You can like fake it. You have to go, you know.
Right,
Which is kind of the whole point of the old Pac-Man game, is that's how you get good.
Right.
And then this one, it's really hard. And I know Gary McD in the chat room is like, he's a software developer. He's like, oh my God, $4.99 is overpriced. But you know, I mean, it's the market. I mean, the whole thing is determined by the market, and there's so many amazing games out there. Some of them are free, some of them are $1 or $2. So people get used to similar alternatives, exactly like Miguel Perez is saying in the chat room. People get used to similar alternatives that are much cheaper, and then it's not based on how long it took them to design this game.
Right,
it's based
exactly.
on other games I can get for $1.99, including one we're about to see, which is cheaper.
Right, let's go to that, because this was my favorite one of all the games that we're talking about today, because I'm a huge tower defense game person. Monsters by Pixel Junk is probably one of my all-time favorite games. And of course, Plants vs. Zombies, another type of tower defense game. Now this one is Medieval HD. Now it's very, very cool. It's fun. It's kind of a little, I don't know if I'd call it retro, but it's simple. It's easy to learn how to play.
It's the here. I'll do.
Yes, I'm getting stuck in my Velcro here.
It's the Plants vs. Zombies, but of medieval times. There we go.
Right, here we go. So I'm gonna go ahead and just resume. I was playing a game earlier. Now this gives you pretty basic directions. You know, you can heal your castle. So basically, we're the blue, and then the enemy's the red. You have a little arrow tower here on the top of your castle.
Crossbow kind of thing.
Yeah, it is kind of like a giant crossbow, and you just basically slingshot arrows at the oncoming enemies. You have a menu up here where you can purchase all of these different upgrades. Now, I've purchased a couple different kinds of arrows. I have a catapult.
Naturally.
Yes, cavalry. And I only have 595 coins, so I pretty much can't afford anything else right now. So I'm going to go back to the main screen. But you have your weapons down here along the bottom. As you can see, they do have charge cycles, so you have to make sure to use them wisely because they don't all charge at the same speed. But yeah, it's pretty simple. This is about the 6th level. So when you get to this stage, you really kind of gotta.
It's pretty challenging.
Move quick. Yes, the enemy seems to present more. They have more soldiers than you do than you can possibly attain.
They're
and
asking
then,
in the chat room, can you purchase these things with real money? No, no, no. It's you earn money in the game the better you do, and then you can spend that money. You pay just like what I think it's this one's $3.
Yeah,
so
$2.99, and for $2.99, this game really is a lot of fun. I mean, maybe that's just me because, like I said, I am a tower defense person. But what's really cool is that there's so many different ways to fight. You can buy all these different kinds of upgrades for your weapons, and it has that good and evil thing going on that I really like. I like being the good guy and defeating the bad guy, and you have knights and that whole medieval aspect to it.
I love the animation on this one too. I mean, you can get closer up, but the individual characters that are sort of marching towards your castle are all really carefully animated.
The detail in this game is quite amazing. I mean, obviously it is medieval HD. It is one of those awesome HD games.
Yeah.
And it really does show the background. You can see those amazing clouds.
And they change it for every level. The background looks different. The castles look a little bit different.
There's some that are at night, and in the daytime, some in the trees. This one is like in the clouds on some mountaintop somewhere. So, and as you can see, I have hot air balloons coming to attack me.
It's pretty intense, yeah.
I have a catapult here that I just set on fire. And yeah, no, this is like, you have to be, well, it's a lot, like with most tower defense games, you really kind of have to be watching all sides at all times.
You have to move pretty quick, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I could just sit here and play this game for the rest of the show.
Totally.
So this is really fun. These are just a couple, games that if you're into, gaming on your iPad, these are some really cool options maybe you haven't heard of. So check them out.
Yeah, I love the medieval HD. That's my pick out of these. So I get that is, thank you so much, Andrea, for coming by.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is our show for today. At 52 minutes. It's in record time.
I was going to say, it flew by. It felt like 5 minutes.
Yeah. I hope they think so in the chat room. They're like, it flew by. I felt like only 4 hours. So next week we have Brett Rounceville. He's the creator of the Rounce homemade line of iPad cases. So I'm looking forward to having him on. We've been promising we're going to do case shows, and finally now the time has come. I booked some case designers on here. That kind of that high-powered crowd I run with. So we're going to have him in here next week. We also, I'm pleased to announce, I've been in touch with the guys who designed Medieval HD, Brisk Mobile. They're going to come in a couple weeks too.
Oh, fantastic!
Look at that.
Because that's what I do when I love an app. I go out and I get the guys to be on the show. That's kind of my main strategy with the show. So stay tuned. Coming up next in about a half hour, we've got This Week in Video Games with our very own Andrea Rene.
Yes,
and
we
Michael
have some
Edden.
really cool things coming up on the show today, including the top 5 single-player games of all time.
Wow, so that's coming up next. What can you give us a sneak preview? What's number 5?
Number 5 is Fallout 3.
Oh wow, that low.
Yeah, well, we're talking all time here.
All time,
I
wow.
have to say, though, I was kind of torn between flipping it with the game that's in the number 3 spot, but I'm not going to say
No,
what
well,
it is.
we'll tease it. We'll tease it
Okay.
out. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up very soon. And then later on tonight, This Week in Music with Asha K. So thanks, everybody. Thanks to Lauren for joining
Thank you for
us.
having me. Pleasure.
It was a delight to have you. Thanks
you,
to
sir.
Andrea. I'm Lon Harris. Follow us on Twitter. We're at TWI iPad. Thanks, everybody, for watching the show. We'll see you next time on This Week in iPad.